Haha, bonjour, bonjour boners. Au revoir, au revoir. No, I'm not leaving. Bonjour, ¿cómo estás? I hope bien. It's so nice to see you. I feel like it's a very holiday Get Wood. My name's Jess Wood. Welcome to Get Wood. It's 30 minutes of some odd stories from the week. Actually, for it's 2 weeks because I've missed you so much. Oh my goodness. Hello. Welcome to Get Wood, sponsored by freedom of speech, no fascists, and love. What do you know about that? All right, so we're gonna, and also ADD, unmedicated and undiagnosed Gen Xers with their stuff. Hello and welcome, everybody. I've missed you so much. Do you want to sing a little before we start? So, if you know it, sing along, won't you? Big Bird, Sesame, Big Minge Energy, Rat-a-ta-ta-ta. That's a 9 mil melody. Bam, and you say, God damn, this is a dope jam. I'm broad, I'm broader than Broadway. Jess, I'm broad, said I'm abroad, and I'm broader than Broadway, and I'm diddling, diddling. Oh, I'm diddling, diddling. Oh, I'm diddling so much myself, and it feels so good, doesn't it? Your sauce will mix with ours, and we'll make a good goulash, baby. Oh, yeah. What time is it? It's time for the best show that you love in the universe. Get Wood with your pal, Jess Wood. Hi. I said that, but I'm going to say it a couple of times because, as I said, also, there are those of us who have some issues. So we need some repetitive things. Also, we love references on this show. Boy, do we reference a lot. Let me tell you something. There's your first one, Fire Marshal Bill. How do you do? So I have been gone, and so that means they're just chock full of goodies to tell you. So I'll get right started right away. So when I last left you, I was going to do a show in Coney Island, storytelling show at the Storytelling USA. It was supposed to be at the museum upstairs, which is like a historic place with, they have like pieces of old rides and posters from, like, I mean, they have a Mae West poster in there. Like, she performed at Coney Island. So and you know how I feel about Mae West. Oh, and I mean, that's the pearls, right? Pearl necklace and a skateboard t-shirt, because we like everything here. And so I went to the Coney show, had some fantastic storytellers, uh, really good, really funny, really smart. And it was part of a festival called the Fall of Freedom Festival. And that sounds kind of fucked up, which it is. It's a reflection of our times. But as I often remind you, my little lovers, my little boners, my big boners, I know that when we take part in art, whether we're doing it or we're participating or we're watching it, we are rebelling against what's happening out there. So, congratulations, you little rebel, you little cutie rebel pie. So, yeah, so everyone had great stories, and at the end, there was a man who I didn't know, who I was referred to by the theater, and he he was more of a writer, and he came up and he had pages, and he was probably in his, I think he said he was 70 something, and and we didn't perform in the museum. We performed downstairs in the sideshow theater, which is a beautiful theater in itself. And it's where everybody does the sideshow, where the contortionist, and they escape from the jacket, the mental hospital jacket, the straight jacket, and the sword swallowers. They still exist. So we were there, and it's a very historic place. So anyway, everything's very historic. This episode, it's very historic. So, brought to you by history. So this man is doing his story, and it's very good, and it's very interesting, and it's about him bringing his granddaughter down to Coney Island. And I figured, if his granddaughter, maybe she's like, I don't know, in her 20s or something, right? Because he's like in his 70s. But no, when I came up after him to close the show, he had said right before he ended, Alice, do you want to come up here? Alice, everyone, there's Vera Alice, Eleanor, Beatrix. Like there's so many old-fashioned names. I love it. So he said, Alice, do you want to come up here? And she goes, no, no. And he goes, well, she's 9, so she probably doesn't want to. She's 9? She's been here this whole time? I talked about, I told the story that I told you guys about the JOB getting ROB'd and with the dick and balls out and the ass out and the tramp stamp, Tommy tramp stamp. I mean, this 9-year-old heard this whole story. So I was a little mortified, but what are you going to do? It's Brooklyn, baby. What the fuck? Hey, how you doing? Fucking what? Welcome to Brooklyn. Now fucking what? And so, you hope for the best. Another guy, a storyteller, had told a story about shitting on a paper plate in his kitchen when he was younger. I know. Yeah, there were some really good stories. So the mom actually came up to me after the show of Alice and said, hey, excuse me, Jess. And I said, yes, hello. And she said, hi, I'm Alice's mom. And I just wanted to tell you, she was embarrassed. She was shy to come up and talk to you, but she really liked you. You were her favorite. Because you know why? The kids love Jess Wood. What's not to love? All my friends who have kids, the kids love me, and I love them. And it's like puppies, like puppies and kids, dogs and kids. If they like you, cats, they all have their own attitude going on. I love a cat, but goddamn, they're fucking, they're a little shady sometimes. So anyway, it was a great storytelling show. And then the next day I went to the JOB. And then the next day I flew to New Orleans, New Orleans, New Orleans. Yeah, NOLA, the Big Easy. What else? A Cajun surprise. Like it was. Okay, so there are people. What is it? My mom coming in? Jesse, don't make me narrate this. Mom, I know I don't want you to narrate it, but I was with you. I know you were. Okay, yes, she was with me, along with many, many other spirits in New Orleans. Okay, first of all, it's like the oldest fucking city in our land, like in our land, in our country, right? I mean, it is one of the old. I mean, and it's been going on since before we even, right? Like look at. I didn't study it when I was down there. I mean, I studied it from my point of view, which I'll tell you about, but in just its history alone, so many cultures, so much blending of food and music and dance and just unbelievable stuff. And yeah, we could all, just talk about the architecture and how beautiful it was. And we could talk about, the food. I have a list of food because I wanted to remember some of the food that I ate down there. It was life changing. Not going to lie to you. So I really feel like before I go into detail, I just want to say as a whole, New Orleans, it's amazing and it's horrifying, like kind of at the same time. Do you know? And I always say that life is beautifully tragic. And it's almost how I felt when I was in New Orleans because the amount of activity, and it was very active spirit wise when I lived in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I had never really, I mean, my mom, yes, Jesse, I raised you a witch. I know, Mom, I know, but it's embarrassing. So because I only really ever started to admit to picking up on it, I guess. It's more of an admittance of like, yeah, I guess I can hear some things. I never thought I could. I never sought out and was like, I'm a witch who can hear all the spirits talk. Well, I don't think you have to even hear them talk. For a lot of the places in New Orleans were just fucking freaky. And and I tell you this from not having gone on a ghost tour. We went on one, so I'll take you through what we did. We went on one, well, I met up with my lover. Yes, I have a lover and he lives in Lala. But we met up in Louisiana. He's from LA, but we met up in LA. It's the other LA. That's what a bumper sticker said out there. Oh God, the sirens are coming. They're coming for me. It's early tonight. They usually come a little later. Uh, so my lover and I, we took a cemetery tour through the St. Louis Cemetery because he knew I have a fondness for Marie Laveau. And Marie Laveau, if you don't know, and if you haven't watched Coven, American Horror Story, which I really highly recommend that season, Marie Laveau was the uh, goddess, priestess, high priestess of voodoo in New Orleans. And what she did was she did hair, and she well, there's all kinds of lore about her, but the gentleman who ran the tour was very funny. Mr. Todd, this white man with glasses in like his 60s, he was really funny. Um, but I'm going to back up a second and tell you when we walked in, and it was during the day, like at 2 o'clock, 2:30 p.m. We walked into the cemetery, and I heard a bunch of don't come in here. We don't want you to come in here. Don't come in here. We don't want you to come in here. Hey, yo, boner. And and I didn't say anything. Obviously, I'm like, stop the tour. I just heard some ghosts tell us not to come in here. I didn't do that at all. So we go on the tour, and we're walking through, and it's very uneventful. I have to tell you, it was very uneventful, except for when, Marie Laveau's tomb. She's entombed in there, and what they do is they let you rot to the bone, and then they take out all the bones. Well, your family does. You exhume the bones, and then you put them in a sack. They put a bone sack, and then they throw it back into the little tomb. And so there's hundreds of sacks of bones in these fucking tombs, in these graves in New Orleans. And they had to lift them, they had to raise the because they can't have bodies in the ground because they all come up when it rains. Oh, poltergeist, I'm clutching my pearls from the poltergeist that was, right? So that was intense. The the boner and Sir Boner of Bone Sack. Uh, there's some Lady Boner of Bone Sack here. May I help you? So he tells us, Mr. Todd tells us about the place called Storyville, and Storyville is where the brothels were, the red light district. And it's right near where we are at the cemetery. And the one of the houses of ill repute is still in existence there. It's boarded up, and it's got some gates around it because they don't want you fucking, they don't want people like hanging out there, hanging out with the hooker spirits, I guess. And so but the jasmine that grows in the neighborhoods and in the city of New Orleans, there's a lot of jasmine that grows. The prostitutes, the ladies of the night, I should say, I want to be polite. I love these women. These women would pluck the jasmine flower and put them as perfume and dab them around. Woo! My mom used my mom would do one underarm, other underarm, coochie. My mom. She said it's a Parisian bath, honey. Very nice. So the ladies of the night would the women of the manor would put on the jasmine, rub the jasmine on them to get their little scents, going, and to disguise some other scents that may have been going as well. Um, Also, the black musicians in the town couldn't play at the regular music halls and bars and such. So the only place that they could play was at the bordellos, was at the houses of ill repute. And so they called them the jazz men. Stop it. I know. And so the jasmine, beep boop, the perfume, and the jasmine. And so that was very interesting to me. I thought that was really cool. And who knew? And also, I was thinking of the Axeman. If you know, there was a murderer. There were many murderers actually in New Orleans, but this gentleman they never caught, and they didn't know who he was, and he just continued to go on and murdering people with his axe. But what he said, he would leave a someone alive, and no one ever could describe who he was or anything, but he would leave one alive and he would say, tell everyone that they have to be playing jazz music out of their house or else I'll come and kill them. Shit, Jazzman. Oh, shit. Jazzman gone bad. Wow, wow. So, yeah, that was the Axeman. I wouldn't call him a jazz man. I call him an Axeman. Batman. Anyway, so that was pretty interesting at the cemetery. And then I asked a local woman that we were talking to about how I felt about the cemetery when I walked in. And I gave her the whole preface as I told you. I said, I don't really claim to be like a medium to hear spirit and stuff. And she said, well, I'm sure you did hear something because they're doing construction right near the cemetery and there's been a lot of activity. Yeah. Poltergeist again. Do you remember Poltergeist? If you don't know, it was like real estaters got all greedy and built this whole condominium complex on this whole graveyard, and it was like supposed to be like an Indian burial ground. But if you think about it, the whole US of A is a fucking Indian burial ground. I mean, hello, this is what we've done. We've cursed our own land. We are on bloody, 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 bloody land. Oh, now I'll get to the Bloody Mary thing. So we also took a walk up to the where the port is, where all the boats come in. And it was really something else to read the placards that they had there that were explaining the slave trade and that admittance of the slavery, and these were the ports where the humans were trafficked, and these were the places where the slaves were brought, and it was so heavy to now, I say, yes, we must admit all these things that we've done wrong. And the only way to get through to the other side is to admit our wrongdoings and to learn from our history. But we don't. And I feel like in most states in the USA, it's no slavery. Why you want to bring up slavery? You know what I mean? Like no one wants to either bring it up, no, admit it even happened. It's like the Holocaust kind of thing. It's very touchy feely, right? So to have a city that is telling you, yes, this is what happened. And then just steps away is the Andrew Jackson Square. So you're like, it's very, like I say, it's very beautiful and very harsh, you know, very harsh. The weather is harsh. The pavement is harsh. It's cobblestone and rough gravel, and it's and what they've done with it, I haven't been there since Katrina. And what they've done with it, I hate it. I'm very unimpressed what they've done with it. They've gentrified it and they've tried to make it where there's big buildings and there's boutiques everywhere. That part, I was like, no, New Orleans. And then you would see the local people and such a difference between the people who were touristing there and being, drunk and disorderly in the streets and just being bumbling into each other. It was really, really severe. We were doing things like locals. We were taking the bus, we were taking the trolley, we were walking to the grocery store. We went to the grocery store a bunch of times, like so many times that we knew people by the time we went there the second time. And it's a small city, but we went out to dinner at a very fancy, hello, reservations, how do you do? What does a Jewish girl make for dinner? Reservations, come on. So my lover took me to this glorious, beautiful mansion restaurant in the French Quarter. And we started chatting with our waitress. She was such a cutie pie little ginger girl from Jersey, Ginger from Jersey. And yes, my lover. And 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 this little girl is, I said to her, this mansion, what is this building? It's so weird. It's like weird. And she goes, well, it used to be the governor's mansion. And I said, oh, that's interesting. And we were like, oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. And then she goes, yeah, he threw his wife off the story balcony into the fountain and killed her. Her ghost still haunts it today. Bah! What? Hey, where? So she said, yeah, she usually throws wine bottles off the shelves, and many a staff member has gone running from her in the mansion. So, it was so fucking crazy. So yeah, the it's called I want to say it's called touche, but I don't know. I don't think it's called that. Touche, Jules. It's called tableau. Excuse me, I had to look at my notes. Tableau is. And can I tell you that I had duck and sausage gumbo? That changed my life. It changed my life. I have never had anything like that before. And I must say, it was a chef's kiss, as the Americans think that the French say. So it was unbelievable. And we shared a creme brulee. Creme brulee. Everything's very French and Southern, and the influences, right? So we had the creme brulee for dessert. It was divine. It was very thin, and it was a giant plate, but it was quite thin and shallow. But boy, we could barely finish it. It was so good. So yes, I am going to tell you about food and ghosts. So then we had heard on our cemetery, Mr. Todd had told a story about Louis Armstrong Park, which was a park that was right nearby where we were and where we were staying. And he said on Sunday afternoon, since the beginning of the city, because the slaves got Sunday off, I'm doing air quotes for those only on audio, um, they all gathered at Congo Square, which is a part of Louis Armstrong Park, and danced and played drums and gave offerings to the ancestors every Sunday. And it still happens today. So we wanted to go to that. We were like, oh, we want to go to that. We're going to go to that. So we were planning little things to do. We're not big planners, but we were planning little things. So that was Sunday. But I still had my Friday. And on Friday, it was Mama L's death anniversary. I know. Can you even stand it? It's easy to remember because it's day after thanks. So oh, Jesse, you're going to talk about your mama. Yes, I'm going to talk about your mama because it was really special what I did. Because we learned from Mr. Todd that the oldest church in the city was right nearby where we were and called the Virgin de Guadalupe Church. The Virgin de Guadalupe Church. And I was raised, if you know me, you know I have Guadalupe on the back of my leg. I was raised with the Guadalupe in my house. I go to the Church of the Guadalupe, and my mom, especially. Oh yes, Jesse. Well, she's a beautiful saint who did many things. Okay, so I got to go on Friday, her death anniversary, to the Church of Guadalupe. I bought a candle at the gift shop. I went into the church. I lit her candle. I placed it in the altar thingy. I'm not religious. And I went and sat at the pew. And I know these little names. And I just talked to her a little bit. And I don't know. Do you talk? I see dead people. Do you talk? Do you talk to the dead? Do you talk to the dead? I'm curious to know, because do you ever go to anybody's grave or say anything or do any special things? Because I just thought it was cool. And also I also prayed, talked in a church. I suppose any talk is pray in a church. And so I spoke to a bunch of my dead friends. And I said, hey, and I said, thanks, for always having my back and always being with me and carrying me through to the other sides of things that might be hard. And I always feel your presence, and I love you. And I cried, I cried, oh, I cried. Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was a little purge. A little purge. You got to get a purge every once in a while. Everybody, if you haven't cried in a while, I recommend it. I really, really, really recommend it. It is, oh, it's glorious. And I laughed later. So you don't have to cry all day. You just have a good little cry, a good cry, and then you're back to your life. You know, I hope you don't sound like that. Crying is sick tight, Alex. Um, uh, and so, okay, I have to look at my notes again. Oh, so so before we went to Congo Square, because of course on Sunday we were like, we're going to the I'll mention the po' boy sandwich that we had. We had a shrimp po' boy sandwich. Po' boy sandwich. And you know when you get it mild, they call it Yankee. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah, they're hilarious down there. Yeah, so I don't need to slap my mama. You know, that's all their hot sauce is called. Slap your mama, slap your mama. And I'm like, I don't know. My mama's dead. So, um, well, uh, I just threw myself off. But before we went to the Congo Square to enjoy the dance and the drums and the ancestor offerings and the fucking trees that must have seen everything there, he found an Ital vegan restaurant. Ital. Bye, bye, bye. Can I just tell you, me love Ital. You can't, no, me no argue nothing about no Ital. You never say nothing bad about my Ital. Buck you down in the fucking Ital. I'm so stupid. I'm sorry for the stupidity, but I'm not sorry because I'm silly and you like my silliness. So we went to the we went to the Ital restaurant and it was so good. At first I was like, I don't know if I can eat anything because I hadn't eaten yet. And when you're just like, I don't know if I want greens for breakfast. I don't know. I should have greens for breakfast. Everyone should have greens for breakfast. But we just got a little of everything. We got red beans and rice. We got greens. We got cornbread. We got banana pancakes. We got 3 cheese mac and cheese, which was 3 cheese, but it was cashew cheese. So it was vegan cheese. I'm making a claw hand because I just want to grip the cheese at this moment, the cashew cheese. It was so soft. It was so hot. It was so delicious and delectable. And it had a spice to it. Oh, and the pancakes, forget it. I was in another world. I was in another land. I was in Jamaica, Jamaica, Jamaica. I was in paradise beyond. So, when I finished this food, I went and spoke to the chef. I said, "Excuse me, chef." And he said, "Yeah." And it was this Rasta dude. And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Oh my goodness, it was so wonderful. Thank you so much. I just feel filled with life and filled with love. And I could just feel the love that you got." And he said, "Ah," and he was just very happy. And he said, "Thank you." And we were just so excited and we were so happy. And then we went, and it helped because it helped to get, for the first bunch of days, we were eating, fried food and pork and duck and, cake. And it was very rich and it was very sticky. And we went to the cemetery. And so it was very sticky at the cemetery and it was very heavy where we were going. I was at the church. It was very heavy. So then we were at this Ital restaurant. It just lightened the whole thing up. It just lightened us up. And we walked out and we went down to Congo Square and we saw a woman that was going there. And she said, "Hey, you going to the drum circle?" And she was this black woman with the gray dreads, but she had dyed the locks. She had dyed her locks pink and purple. So she had these beautiful pink and purple and gray locks. And she said, "You coming to the drum circle?" And she said, "Follow me." And so we went and oh my goodness, the whole park, that part of the park, the statues and the history and sitting in a place where people are carrying on a tradition of light and love and freedom and togetherness, community and ancestry and nature. it wasn't very warm, but I took off my shoes and socks and I grounded next to the tree. I went to this beautiful old tree. It must have seen everything that's been through there. This tree was so old. And how old was it? And it was so old, it had offerings all through it. But it did, it had offerings all through it. There were coins stuck into its bark, and there were kente cloths laid on its root, and there were jewels, like jewelry, an earring here and a bracelet there. It was so beautiful. I took off my shoes and socks and I just walked around it and held it and grounded with it and felt the drums and felt the ancestors and felt the special, the beauty of this space and the people who had been through it. And it was just so beyond anything ever. And I have so much more to tell you and then some. And it's already 30 minutes. So it's time for me to go. I know I stick to a pretty intense schedule here, but I have so much more to tell you. I have to tell you about the haunted voodoo house, the haunted castle that wasn't even on it, invited to a tour we weren't even on. There were so many kids, ghost kid pictures. There were so many things and more food to talk about. So I cannot wait to see you next week. And listen, as always, if you ever want me to discuss anything that's happening, we try to stay positive, but I will put my spin on it, whatever it is. So please send it in. Yes, ice also came there while we were there, which, oh boy. Anyway, I'm not going to end like that. I'm going to end like this. I love you. And if you love yourself, which I hope you do, you will be gentle with yourself. You will drink water. You will get enough sleep. You will eat nice things. You will be with nice people, or you will be by yourself if you feel like you need to be by yourself. You will be kind to yourself. You will be gentle with yourself. Okay. Okay, my little lover boners. Listen, it's it's cold. If you're in a cold area, in your cold state or city, take it easy, bundle up, take care of yourself, drink tea, just be aware of your body and pay attention to it and be kind. I'm going to say it again, just be kind and don't do anything you don't want to do. And if you're not doing anything that hurts you or hurts anybody else, you're killing it. So you don't have to do anything. Okay? I love you. I'll talk to you next week. Ooh, it was so fun to be back. I love you guys. Bye. Yes, we're ending.